What if the greatest obstacle in your life is you? Not the economy. Not your upbringing. Not your boss, your partner, or the government. But that quiet, invisible weight pressing on your shoulders every morning, the urge to delay, to do nothing, to stay comfortable. That subtle but persistent voice that whispers, not now, maybe later. That is laziness. And it is not harmless. It is not innocent. It is not just being tired. It is a silent killer of potential, a thief of time, a deceiver wearing the mask of rest. Laziness is not about doing nothing. It's about knowing what must be done, and refusing to move. It's watching your own life slip through your fingers while telling yourself you're just taking a break. And the tragedy? Most people will never even call it what it is. They'll call it burnout. They'll call it a bad day. They'll say, I'm just not motivated right now. But the truth is uglier, they've surrendered. To fear. To weakness. To the temptation of ease. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, fought wars not only on the battlefield, but inside his own mind. He wrote in his journal, what we now call the Meditations, not for others, but for himself, to battle his own laziness, distraction, and excuses. One morning, he wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. Not because someone is watching. Not for a reward. But because it is your duty. Because you are here to act, to serve, to live, not to hide under the blanket of excuses. Laziness is not physical. It's spiritual. A rejection of your own nature. The Stoics believed we are born to fulfill a purpose, to rise each day and do our work. Not for applause. Not for pleasure. But because we are human, and that is what humans are made for, reasoned, purposeful action. Every time you choose comfort over courage, distraction over discipline, you betray that nature. You shrink your soul. But laziness isn't just a habit, it's a worldview. It says, this moment doesn't matter. My life doesn't matter. My choices don't matter. And nothing could be more false. Every minute wasted is a minute stolen from the person you could become. Every time you avoid discomfort, you train yourself to be weak. Every later becomes a never. Look around you. How many dreams are buried in soft couches? How many businesses were never built because someone hit snooze? How many relationships collapsed because someone didn't have the strength to grow up and take action? Laziness doesn't shout. It whispers. It numbs. It kills you slowly, one passive day at a time. To overcome it, you don't need inspiration. You don't need energy. You don't even need motivation. You need clarity. You need a reason. The Stoics believe that if you know your why, you will endure almost any how. Why are you here? Why does it matter that you rise early, that you write, that you build, that you push forward? Not for applause. Not for likes. But because this life is short, and every hour you waste is an hour you never get back. Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Time is not running out. You're just not using it. Every excuse, every delay, every avoidance, it adds up. Not just in your calendar, but in your soul. The Stoics teach us to live each day as if it were our last. Not to chase pleasure. But to cut through excuses like a blade through fog. To see what truly matters and act. If you want to conquer laziness, you must stop negotiating with it. Don't ask, do I feel like it? Ask instead, what must I do? The first question leads to weakness. The second, to strength. Don't wait to be in the mood. Don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And now is enough. Your body may ache. Your mind may resist. But your soul knows. You are not made for softness. You are not made for delay. You are not made to be another ghost scrolling through life. You are made to act. To create. To endure. To build. Not someday. Today. There's a Roman general inside you, waiting to rise. But he won't come alive through comfort. He will only come alive through effort. Through discipline. Through defiance of that lazy voice inside. So when that voice whispers again, not now, just 5 more minutes, don't argue. Don't explain. Just move. Just begin. Because once you begin, something strange happens. Laziness loses its grip. It only has power in stillness. Once you act, it fades like a shadow in sunlight. You remember who you are. You remember that you are not a machine waiting for commands, not a slave to comfort, not a victim of inertia. You are a soul with will. And will is stronger than mood. The battle against laziness is not a battle of energy, it's a battle of meaning. Remind yourself every day, your life is not an accident. Your days are not disposable. Your actions are sacred. You don't get this moment twice. You don't get a second chance at today. So make it count. Not with grand gestures, but with quiet, ruthless action. Again. And again. And again. There's something you need to understand about laziness. It doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes, it hides in productivity. Yes, you can be lazy while working. Cleaning your desk instead of starting the project. Watching motivational videos instead of doing the actual work. Planning endlessly. Over-preparing. Researching something for the 100th time instead of taking that first terrifying step. Laziness is clever. It disguises itself as, I'm getting ready. It says, this has to be perfect. But that's not preparation. That's fear in a costume. Perfectionism is procrastination with a halo. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect conditions. They believed that wisdom wasn't just in knowing what to do, but in doing it now. Epictetus said, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? You think you're tired. But are you tired, or are you just avoiding something that scares you? Are you truly drained, or are you full of energy for everything except what actually matters? The human spirit is not exhausted by action, it's exhausted by hesitation, by indecision, by dragging your soul across the same decision day after day. Do I begin? Or not yet? Should I change? Or wait? That tension, of knowing and not acting, is what drains you. The Stoics believe that clarity is action. You don't get clarity by thinking. You get it by doing. When your mind is clouded, when you're unsure, don't sit and ruminate. Move. Write. Lift. Build. Speak. Do something. Action clears the fog. Movement breaks the illusion of helplessness. It's not about making massive progress in a day, it's about reclaiming your power, one decision at a time. Laziness tells you that you'll always feel like this. That motivation will return someday. But that's the trap, waiting for a feeling. You were not built to be ruled by feelings. You were built to rule over them. That is what separates a Stoic from the crowd, the ability to act regardless of emotion. The ability to rise while the rest sleep. To push forward while the rest doubt. To say, I don't need to feel ready. I just need to begin. Do you know what happens when you act without waiting for motivation? Something miraculous. Motivation follows. Action creates it. The very thing you're waiting for is on the other side of discipline. It's like a muscle, you don't build it by sitting and wishing. You build it by moving through resistance. Again. And again. Until one day, that resistance is no longer your enemy, it becomes your fuel. Think of a blade. A sword that rusts from disuse. A weapon dulled by neglect. That's what your will becomes when you give in to laziness. But use it, and it sharpens. Push it, and it strengthens. Test it, and it learns to cut through the fog of excuses like light through darkness. You are not born disciplined. You become disciplined. One choice at a time. It begins with simple defiance. You stand up when your body says lie down. You write when your mind says there's nothing left. You run when your legs scream to stop. That's the moment your character is forged, not when it's easy, not when it's inspiring, but when everything inside you begs for comfort and you still choose effort. That is the Stoic way. You will never eliminate the voice of laziness entirely. It will always whisper. But you can train yourself to ignore it. To walk past it like a stranger calling from a dark alley. It offers nothing. It promises nothing. It only steals. It takes your mornings. Your creativity. Your energy. Your confidence. And it gives you regret in return. You must learn to hate regret. To see it not as a feeling, but as a cost. A price you pay every time you choose laziness. Every time you say, tomorrow, when your soul knows the answer is, now. Every time you sit and watch life move without you. Regret is a slow poison. And the only antidote is action. So stop asking, how do I get rid of laziness? The better question is, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Who would I be if I didn't delay? What would my life look like if I showed up every single day? You already know the answer. You've seen glimpses of that version of yourself, on the rare days when you were all in. You remember the peace it gave you. The pride. The stillness that comes only after battle. That version of you is not a dream. It's a decision. No one is coming to save you from your own comfort. No external force will pull you from your chair, silence your excuses, or carry you toward your goal. You must decide. Every morning. Every hour. In silence. In discomfort. In resistance. The decision to act is the birthplace of greatness. Not just once, but again. And again. And again. Laziness is seductive. But it's not stronger than you. It never was. It just talks louder. It pretends to care. It speaks in your voice, with your tone, wearing your face. But it is not you. You are the one who acts. Who decides. Who endures. Remember that. Remember it especially when it's hardest. Because your future is not waiting somewhere out there, it is being shaped right now. In this moment. In the quiet decision to rise. In the silent rebellion against delay. In the small, ruthless choice to take one step, and then another. That is how you destroy laziness, not with inspiration, but with will. Not tomorrow. Now. Most people think laziness is about energy. That if they just had more sleep, more time, more support, then they would act. But that's the illusion. The truth is, laziness is almost never about energy. It's about fear. Fear of failure. Fear of discomfort. Fear of starting and realizing you're not as good as you hoped. Fear that what you build will be ignored. Fear that what you change will demand more from you than you're ready to give. So you avoid. You tell yourself you're resting, but you're not tired, you're afraid. You scroll, you snack, you clean, you daydream, but you don't move. Not in the direction that matters. Not toward the life you say you want. And deep down, you know it. The Stoics knew it, too. They called it akrasia, the state of knowing the right thing and still failing to do it. But they didn't accept it. They trained against it. They armed themselves with philosophy not as a theory, but as a shield. They wrote, spoke, and acted every day as if time were a blade hanging over their heads, because it was. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not as a threat, but as a wake-up call. You don't have forever. And the life you dream of will not wait for you to be in the mood. Either you act now, or you surrender to decay." Laziness is slow death. It doesn't come for you in one blow. It weakens you one choice at a time. It teaches your brain to expect ease, your body to resist effort, your spirit to tolerate mediocrity. Until one day, you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person staring back. Not because they changed overnight, but because they stopped trying long ago. And here's the brutal truth, no one will stop you. The world will let you waste your life. It won't scream. It won't intervene. It'll just move on without you. Your dreams. They'll dissolve quietly. Your talents. They'll rust. Your time. It will be spent anyway, whether you use it or not. That's what makes laziness so dangerous. It lets you rot in peace. So what can you do? You must break the trance. Interrupt the cycle. Take a breath and make one strong move. Stand up. Write the sentence. Lift the weight. Open the book. Make the call. Not later. Not perfectly. Now. Because action is the cure. Not ideas. Not intentions. Not inspiration. Movement. Only movement cuts through the fog. The Stoics believed in right action. Not talking about what you'll do. Not planning endlessly. But doing the next right thing, no matter how small. They knew that momentum builds through motion, not motivation. That the soul becomes strong through repetition, not theory. That character is not what you feel, but what you choose when it's hard. And here's the paradox, once you act, the fear shrinks. Once you commit, the laziness retreats. Once you push, the strength shows up. It's not magic. It's physics. Inertia works both ways. A body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. Your mind is no different. Discipline is not about force. It's about identity. You stop being lazy when you stop seeing yourself as someone who gives in. You become someone else. Someone who keeps promises to themselves. Someone who does the hard thing when no one is watching. Someone who lives like life is urgent, because it is. You'll still feel resistance. That's normal. You're not broken. You're human. But resistance is not a wall, it's a signal. It tells you exactly where to go. Wherever the discomfort is, go there. Wherever your brain says, not now, do it now. That is your compass. That is your training ground. That is your freedom. You cannot destroy laziness by talking to it. You must outgrow it. You must make it irrelevant to who you are becoming. A stronger version of you, a disciplined, dangerous, focused version, does not negotiate with weakness. He recognizes it, and walks through it. Build rituals that kill hesitation. Wake up at the same time. Start the day before the world interrupts you. Do something difficult before breakfast. Own your mornings and you will own your life. The Stoics started early because they knew that the first hours set the tone for everything that follows. Begin strong, and you stay strong. And forgive yourself when you slip. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you must return quickly. Laziness loves guilt, it uses shame to keep you stuck. Stoicism teaches us to look at the failure, learn, and move. No drama. No self-pity. Just adjustment. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. And here's the final truth, laziness will never disappear completely. But neither will your power to choose. That's the balance. Every day is a duel. Every choice is a vote. Every moment, you are either building the man you respect, or the man you regret. You can't wait to feel like it. You have to decide to be it. Every time. What happens when you finally defeat laziness? When you stop waiting, stop hiding, stop bargaining with your own comfort? Something remarkable. You begin to respect yourself. And that is the true reward, not applause, not money, not praise from others. But that quiet, steady voice inside that says, you showed up. You did what had to be done. That is a kind of peace laziness will never offer. It's not happiness in the shallow sense, it's alignment. A sense that your actions finally match your potential. That you are no longer at war with yourself. Laziness is not just wasted time. It's self-betrayal. You know who you could be. You've seen it in flashes. In rare moments of courage. In nights when you pushed through. In mornings when you refused to hit snooze. You know there's more inside you than what your comfort wants you to believe. The Stoics didn't seek comfort. They didn't worship rest. They trained their minds like soldiers. Seneca said, set aside now and then a number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition I feared? Why? Because discomfort is the forge of strength. Because when you've suffered by choice, you don't fear hardship. When you've faced your laziness and moved anyway, you become untouchable. Because now you know, you don't need ideal conditions. You don't need motivation. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to act. That's the Stoic path, freedom through discipline. Strength through simplicity. Power through presence. You don't need a new book. A new routine. A perfect plan. You need action. Small, deliberate, ruthless action, today, again tomorrow, and again the day after. Laziness says, you'll be fine. But Stoicism says, you're running out of time. Laziness says, you deserve a break. Stoicism says, you deserve a life worth living. Laziness wants you to forget what matters. Stoicism reminds you. So, take a hard look at your life. The hours you waste. The energy you squander. The things you say you'll do one day. Then ask yourself, if not now, when? If not you, who? If not this life, what life are you waiting for? You don't overcome laziness once. You overcome it every morning. Every decision. Every quiet moment when no one is watching, and the easier path is calling. And each time you choose to rise, you chip away at the old version of yourself, the one who used to wait, delay, excuse, escape. Until one day, that person is gone. And what remains is someone you trust. Someone you admire. Someone who doesn't need to be pushed, because he already knows why he moves. Your life is not a rehearsal. The clock is ticking, and every excuse is a thief in disguise. Every moment you hesitate, you train yourself to be weaker. But every act of discipline, no matter how small, is a declaration, I am not here to waste my days. I am here to become who I was meant to be. You'll still have moments of weakness. That's human. But now, you have tools. You have principles. You have the wisdom of men who faced war, exile, disease, betrayal, and still chose virtue over comfort. If they could stand firm, so can you. So the next time laziness whispers to you, do not listen. Do not reply. Just act. Get up. Breathe. Move. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Start before you're ready. Take the first step without knowing the second. Because that's how a disciplined life is built, not by certainty, but by courage. Not by comfort, but by commitment. Not by luck, but by choice. The choice is yours. Every day. Every hour. Right now.